Hi friends, and welcome back to Skyforge. I thought I'd make a short, I don't know, it might be short, it might be long, I'm not sure yet, but I just wanted to make a little video and kind of talk about my thoughts and my feelings about this game right now, because I've been playing quite a bit now. I play kind of on and off. I just sort of jump in, do a couple things, jump out, send the people on missions and things like that, but I don't really like get really heavy into it. So I mean, I'm still Lightbinder. I'm like 2 nodes away from unlocking the kinetic, but I've played enough and I've gotten experience in enough of the things that I thought I could just kind of chit chat and talk. And I want to like blatantly say the point of this video. Sorry, I bumped my microphone. Because I've seen some misunderstanding as far as the purpose of some of the other videos that I've done regarding this game. So those rundowns that I did for the classes that I haven't really finished, I made those as sort of an idea of, how do I phrase this? I wanted them to be used by people who weren't playing the game to kind of get an idea of what the other classes were like. And that's why they're so short, because all the other videos that were available were really long and they kind of went into a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I don't want to tell people how to play their class. I just want to give them an idea of what the class is like, so when they start to play the game they can kind of decide what path they want to go down, you know, before they get started, because the training facility doesn't unlock until you hit the certain point in your atlas anyway. So that's one thing, and the purpose of this video is, again, for people who aren't sure if they want to put the time in, even though it's free to play. I just want to talk about some things. Maybe it'll be helpful to anyone who's kind of on the fence a little bit, but we're just going to run around in these areas, and that's the first thing I'll talk about too, is I'm going to talk about these MMO open areas like these, and I will show you the map. But as you run around these zones, and these zones are huge. I mean, they're enormous. So like if I open up my map, you can see like this big area, this huge open area is all for doing quests. There's quests everywhere, and there's no quest giver, so you don't have to like run around and pick stuff up. You just kind of get them as you do things. So that's pretty neat. But they pop up every so often, and they'll have quests that you need to do. Or you'll have a quest to go to an area and do something, and they kind of weave the story in to kind of to carry you through the different prestige levels and do different things in different zones, which I think is a really interesting way of setting everything up, because you have these big areas like this, and then you've got the different adventures and the 5-man runs, and now with they have a big patch coming out on the 11th of August that has a bunch of stuff in it. That's going to be including like 10-man raids and invasions, which are going to be huge, open fighting with a bunch of people, and it's going to be really cool. But given everything that I've been playing with, especially with like the majority of the stuff that we do is the 3-man squad runs, because that seems to be what the majority of the content is, and those are pretty fun. Especially, you know, you can do those as in random groups. There is mechanics. There are definitely some mechanics in some of the dungeons, and as you increase the difficulty with your prestige, you'll actually encounter new mechanics. So I think that's a very cool way of doing things. So you don't lock people out of content, you just give them a scale, a sliding difficulty scale. If they want it to be harder, they can increase it. If they want it to be easier, they can decrease it, and then your rewards are reflected appropriately, which is a very nice way of doing things in comparison to some other MMO games where it is one difficulty, and if you can't deal with that, then GTFO, and that content is locked out to you. So I find that to be a very cool thing. But some of the other stuff that I kind of wasn't sure about at the beginning, they had a system in place where if you weren't really close in prestige to somebody else, then you wouldn't actually be able to play the same content as them. And they fixed that. This patch is going to be fixing that, which I think is really cool. They're actually going to be doing prestige scaling. Oh my god, chocobos. So with that, the lowest prestige person in a party is actually going to be raised up. So they'll have more health and more attack power, and it will level everything out for everyone, so you can just play everyone can play in the same group, you can help your friends, and it puts everyone at the normal level. And instead of penalizing the people who are higher in prestige, it actually just kind of helps everybody out and increases the lowest member up to the highest point, which I find to be a really cool system. And I think that's going to help a lot, especially with the differential between new players and old players, so you're not going to have too much trouble. And it says in the patch notes that that's going to be working too with the group finder, so they'll try to group you up with people around your same prestige level so they don't have to do too much of a difference. But if they run into an instance where there's just nobody queuing up, they can scale a person in, so that's pretty cool. The other cool thing that I actually really like is oh, somebody's talking to me. Whatever you say. Well, as I was saying, something that I really like was wasn't sure about at the very beginning, was the resource caps. So if you go in your menus, it's under one of these, where is it? That's under this one, currency. You have limits, and you can only get so many credits, so many sparks and class sparks and stuff like that. And to me, this really doesn't affect me. I don't play enough of this game in order to max any of these out. I've never hit the max for any of this stuff, and it resets every Wednesday. But some people do, and some people have grinded the crap out of this stuff, and they're just all about it, and that's fine. I'm not. And I think this is an interesting way of doing kind of like a stop to some of that, because one of the big things that I noticed, and especially in Final Fantasy, there's a huge gap between the end game and the get a new weapon, between the end game and the starting. Oh god, so much is happening. But the limits on your ability to get sparks and class sparks kind of helps the new players coming in from being completely like just outrun to the end. I mean, in comparison, like say I take 5 days to max out. Like if I really played and I took the time to grind through a lot of the missions just to build up my sparks, then am I at a disadvantage in comparison to somebody that did all that in like 1 day? Like I did that in 5 days, and someone does that in like two or 1. So like we're still at the same place. Oh man, that was weird. You can do that again. Boom. That's cool. But it's neat. It keeps everybody kind of in the same place if they want to be, and you don't have to be totally rocked when, you know, somebody decides they want to be the best there ever was and just completely overdo it, and there's no one at the same level as them. So I think that's a really cool way of doing stuff. I'm just running around at this point. I don't even do any of my missions, but I really like these big open areas. They're fun. But one detriment that I have noticed, and it frustrates me, and it's really, I think it's just a mentality that is really set in stone right now. I see a lot of people basically just like wanting to know how to do their class. Like nobody trusts themselves enough. Oh, that girl's dead. It's like nobody trusts themselves enough to just do it on their own. Because like when you open up, let me not get murdered for doing this, but when you open up like your abilities, you know, you have these different ones and they take up a slot, and you only have so many slots, and then you have talents, you know, so many talents. So like you have to decide what you're going to do, and then there's, you know, your pantheon, your order, and your provinces, and you have to decide what bonuses you want. And I'm really just worried that we're going to get to this point at the later stages of the game, when after it's been out for a while and they have more features implemented, where it's going to be like Final Fantasy, where you only have one way of playing that class, and if you're not playing it that way, then nobody else is going to play with you. Because I think that's total bullshit in an MMO like this, where they've gone through a lot of trouble to make some kind of customization. You're not all going to be the same, and you shouldn't be the same. And then there's going to be those people who are the super hardcore min-maxers who are going to be like, well, you're not doing it this way, and that makes you wrong. And I think that's such crap. And that right now, that's my only real worry, because I see it already. Like, I see it now, like with those videos that I made with people getting like, well, you didn't actually unlock it and you don't know. And I was like, I just got into the training and I wanted to show people who weren't sure if they wanted to play the game or not. So it's like, what do you want? What do people really want? Do they want to be told how to play? Like, is that it? Do people just want to actually be told exactly the only way to play their class, or what? That's kind of my big concern right now. But I think that's an overarching concern with MMOs. I'm gonna get away from this before it kills me. I didn't pull my weapon out, it's fine. But I am curious to see how this goes. It's new. It doesn't seem like it's gonna fall flat on its face, and I actually really enjoy it. It is very fun, and it's pretty too. It's not an ugly game. It looks nice. Character models are pretty good. Animations are pretty good. I haven't really encountered any major bugs, and that's kind of, I think that wraps up my feelings right now with Skyforge. I think it's worth the time. Oh god. What? Do you need help? Alright, you're good. You're good. Anyway, I'm curious what you guys think. For anyone that has been playing Skyforge, or maybe if you haven't decided if you want to put the time in or not, you know, I think this is definitely... Am I under attack? I think this is definitely like a casual to hardcore game. This is definitely one that you can jump into and just kind of derp around and do what you want to. You don't have to grind to the top as quickly as possible if you don't want to. There's plenty of other things to do. And then they're saying that with the invasions being implemented in this big patch that's coming up, it's pretty much going to be, it says like every able-bodied immortal is going to be participating. So it sounds like they're going to be everyone. No matter what your prestige level, you're not going to be restricted out of this event. The only restriction they said was going to be for the big boss raid at the end. But as far as the beginning stages of an invasion, anyone can play. Anyone can participate. It's open to everyone. And I think that's really cool. I think they're doing a lot with accessibility. They're making the content accessible to players, and I think that's a really great way to go about it. And honestly, that's something I felt like WoW did pretty good. I never felt like I was locked out of anything. There was plenty of stuff to do. I didn't want to do raiding way back when I actually played that game, but I never wanted to raid. It didn't interest me that much, and I didn't have to. I never felt like I had to. There was plenty of other stuff for me to do. I never had to. And then Final Fantasy, I feel the same way, but the only problem with that is the vocal minority of the gamers in that community are all really, really hardcore, and they kind of give you that feeling like, well, you're not good enough, which deters me from doing it. It also gives me a really heavy feeling of toxicity in the community, which I hate. I hate that feeling so much, and I really don't want to see that happen in this one. I definitely want to be, you know, smooth, calm, and collected throughout the entirety of the game, and just kind of enjoy everything as it comes along. You know, figure out the mechanics, because mechanics in this are not difficult. It's not anything to really make guides for. There's nothing hard happening. There's nothing you really have to look out for too much, because most bosses I've run into so far have only had like maybe 2 to 3 mechanics, and they're very, very self-explanatory. There's no secret to them. They don't like try to trick you into doing something wrong. It's just very blatant, like huge rocks fall from the ceiling. Hide behind the rock and don't stand under the rock when it falls. Like, that's it. That's all you got to worry about. Lots of egg mechanics, lots of ad spawning mechanics I've seen where the bosses will spawn eggs and try to kill you that way, and you just kill the egg before it can spawn the ads. Not difficult. And hopefully this has made sense. To recap my feelings, this game is good. I think it's going to do good things. It has really accessible content. It's really catering to both ends of the spectrum as far as like casual play versus hardcore play, and kind of doing its best to bridge the gap between the two so that nobody's really getting left out. So if you've been playing, I hope you continue to play, and I'll try to make content. I don't really know what to make is the problem. I don't think guides are the thing to do for this. I mean, this hasn't been that exciting aside from like really looking around, I'll try to maybe do some updates, I guess, as far as when they implement things. I mean, I'm not really into much right now. Maybe I'll do some of the 5-man stuff just to kind of show it off. My big problem right now is there's just not that many people playing it with me. Oh no, what have I done? No, go away. So I've been, you know, there's Shaq and there's Tabby, and that's 3. But the 5-man stuff, it's hard to pug. There is some communication required for some of that, especially since it actually has a set class requirement. So you have to have 3 DPS, an assist, and a tank in order to do that content. It's so pretty. I haven't been this far in. It's great. It's so nice. Oh, she seems upset. I'm not going in there. Bye. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. I'm done rambling at you. If you've enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe and do some social stuff. And I will see you guys later. Okay? Bye.